Hi everyone, it's Athena. Welcome back to my channel. All right, it is Monday. Happy Monday, the 11th of January, 2021. So today there's 8 ones. The 8 depicting as above, so below with the infinity sign, right? Fertility, growth, abundance, whatever that means to you. A sense of knowing that we are connected to Mother Earth, that we are Mother Earth, right? Okay, so let's get started and see as we all begin to open our hearts even more than we thought we could ever open our hearts. We unleash a new compassionate feelings that some of us have not ever experienced. The compassion for what is going on out there and depicts what is at the heart of the matter within, right? Keeping a stronghold of joy and happiness and letting go of the rest. Not allowing the outward social media, etc., to put you in fear-based mentality mode and staying with what is at your heart, right? So when we veer off, let's say, off the beaten track of fear versus love, because that's what we're doing right now. If you feel a sense of anxiety, stress, oh my God, it's too much, then you're watching too much social media, you're in it a little too deep. You need to extract yourself for a minute and turn on some music, go take a walk if you can, take an Epsom salt bath to ground yourself, even to the point of wearing green. It helps heal, it helps ground you and stay grounded, right? So that you're not being imposed with what's out there is what you're feeling in here, right? Because that out there is an illusion. What's in your heart is not an illusion. It's the feeling of knowing that you're connected with the all. Okay, also one more quick thing. I know some of you are not going to like this. But I do have to say that after 4 live sessions on Friday, I thoroughly enjoyed doing those readings. I love helping as many people as I can. However, that is very draining. So I'd like to keep Fridays, and guess I'm setting the tone for Fridays being just for fun. It's just going to be for fun with our spiritual as fuck cards. Yeah? Okay, just fun only, limiting my energy so that I don't absorb, and it's the give and take, right? So I need to do that for my own energy to allow also, you guys have now clearly seen, the readings and how they've gone for the last 4 lives. So now it's time to, if you are interested in getting a reading, just contact me, right? I'm not saying I'm not going to go back to doing some fun readings again, but for now, the tower we must break it down because it's like, for me, it was between the last 4 lives have been between 2 and 4 hours of like a lot of energy drainage, right? And also I did that and have done that and will do it again. But for now, I'm going to hold off on doing readings and just do like a couple fun readings. I'll do around the world reading and maybe a couple others to just, we can do something different for Fridays live, okay? And if you do want a reading, then just let me know, okay? But for now, we need to hold back on the energy. It is depleting me, and so I think it's easier for us to just keep it light, you know? Because it takes me a minute to get my energy back up. Okay. So, let's see what's happening for today's reading. Right? Being free, freedom at last, I hear. Hanging by a thread, of course. Someone could be hanging by a thread, but also just getting ready to release, meaning to fly. So this person has surrendered his mind, body, and soul to what? To spirit, right? He's outside of the realm. He's outside of the matrix, so to speak, right? He's outside of the matrix. He's flying in the ethers. There's the sun. And as the sun rises, we saw this, right? We've seen this card depicting the sun. And so he has surrendered to spirit. And that's when the magic happens. When we surrender and we give, you know, everything that's going on in our lives, we give up to spirit because, you know, we realize at this juncture, we realize that what we were trying to control wasn't all that. Okay? The Nine of Pentacles, she has gotten many downloads to get to this point of surrendering to spirit, like completely, right? Not asking questions any longer is surrendering to spirit, releasing the need to know, right? Her higher self now, this hawk totem of this Nine of Pentacles, she wears the cloak of blue because she has entered into a new realm of how she looks at the world. She doesn't look at the world any longer as frightening, fear-based. She has gotten herself out of that, and I will say matrix, because that's what it is, and into Mother Earth, completely absorbed by her higher truth, as the Holy Spirit is the hawk. She has connection with spirit through Mother Earth. She knows her connection very well. And she also, you can see, she's got her hand on her hip, right? Meaning her higher truth and the surrender that she's gone through, complete surrender to spirit, and she's become the vessel for spirit, because that's what we are. But our ego gets in the way. She's dropped her ego. So she now is completely in service to Mother Earth, to nature, to the all children, etc. Right? So now with that in mind, or not, right? Things become still. So this is, to me, this is be still and know. And that's what's happened. So many are going through this leveling up of be still and know. Know that you don't need to act, react, think about anything, go anywhere, do anything, because everything that you have is within you. It's the magic of the universe. See, that's where the distinction of words get in the way, because this is really all heart. There's no swords here. She's dropped all of that ego, and she has become one with nature, one with Mother Earth. She's gotten herself into the infinite feeling of love. She has realized her place in the world, right? And when you get to that point, be still and know. Wow. Okay. Same thing. Now she went from surrender and getting out to flying. So one could say that she has been saved by spirit, right? She has been saved. She saved herself, really. You know that. She did. She surrendered, got out of the matrix, and realized that she is one with the all. Be still and know that you get your wings to fly when this happens. I love that. This is great. So it's amazing, actually. It's great. It's just such a, it's just so, it is. It's ordinary. Being ordinary in an extraordinary world. Exactly. And having the strength and the vision and the connection. So great. So great. So profound, actually. A very profound reading we have for Monday morning. How awesome is this? Wow, she's been definitely guided to understand that when you get to be still and know, you have overcome many hurdles in life. You end up speaking less and questioning none. For the angels have helped her receive her wings. And this is her, let's say, again, for lack of better words, because really words can't describe what she's been through. Only her heart knows. Her connection to spirit. She received her wings. I don't even know how I can go any further with this. Let's go one more. I was going to stop, but I think one more. Thank you. Thank you, Spirit. And there is the King of Swords. So, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. It doesn't have to be. It means we conquered our own element. You get that? The King of Swords is all about the ego because he thinks. He's the one that justifies things. He thinks about the right and the wrong. He thinks about how can I play this out? He maneuvers. He strategizes in a different way. He strategizes almost in tandem with sometimes the ego, because that's why I really believe, and this is something that I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about it for years, actually. It's we come into this world. First of all, we're not a person. We're not a person. We are a spirit in a vessel, right? Number one, we are not our name. We are not our identity. We are one with Mother Earth, with nature, with the universe. We are one with the universe, which is here. Yes? And when we have chosen to come into this earth plane to learn the lessons that we have learned, we come in with, right, one of the elements or all of, well, we are all of the elements, all encompassing, yes. However, our sign, our sun sign, our moon sign, our rising sign depicts the element with for me is your sun sign, because that is your identity. Okay? Your sun sign identifies you as, let's say, your persona, which is egoic. When you choose the sun sign of Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, using the swords as your element is air, the air that you breathe, the things that you say, the vision that you have for your life is you're conquering it through your ego. You're conquering your thoughts. So every element conquers its own element. It must conquer its own element to achieve the ultimate crown. Not all kings have the crown, right? Not all people are worthy of the crown because you have to go through a complete let go, surrender. And the more that this king grabbed onto that ego of his thoughts every time, because that's his go-to. It's a default. Our sun sign is a default of our identity. So this is Libra, Aquarius, Gemini, whose default is to think things through, to justify things, to try and balance things. Whether they know or not, they had to conquer their own element. Every sign conquers their own element in order to attain the all. I'm not saying we're not all made up of. We are. It's, as an example, if you want an example, it's the one thing that draws you to another in the beginning that actually ends the relationship. Follow me? So let's just use that as an example, just to show you what this means. As an example, let's say you're drawn to someone who is, let's just say the King of Wands, drawn to an attractive, sexy King of Wands who loves to fool around, play around, uses his passion of that wand for good or for bad or whatever, I'm using him as an example. So the King of Wands has needed to conquer his foundation of his ego is the wand, right? And how he uses that wand. His wand, his thing is the sword and how he uses that sword. So all of the elements as the King of Wands has gotten to, when he attains, he will become king after he understands that in order to use his wand effectively in life, his fire and passion need not come from sex and one night stands and the player within. The player within then ends up getting played. And he earns his wings, let's say they're wings, not the crown. I just use that as this. But he earns his wings and or the crown or her. Becoming whole, the connection is that he uses it for creative purposes. So I'm using another king as an example. So the King of Wands, in order for him to achieve and attain, he gets out of his element of the wand. He has a choice of the wand controlling him as the player, right? His wand controls him. He's the player through sex and one night stands, hookups, whatever. And then when he has attained, when he has gotten to the point of understanding what he was given as the wand, he understands now that in order to attain and be still and know, he will have used that wand for creative purposes only. The King of Swords is using his sword no longer to manipulate through his ego of the sword. His element is the air that he breathes. His element is the things he speaks and says. So his be still and know moment comes when he dropped his ego of the sword, of the lies, the manipulation, the justifying the means, right? So he received his wings. I hope that made sense. I kind of went deep into that, but that's the same kind of thing that when we meet someone, that's where the closure is. When we meet someone, let's just say we met a king of wands who's dynamic, who uses his sexy to get people to really, that's the magnet, right? That's where he works his best magic, is through the magic of the passion of the wand that he holds. This is funny. Look who's here. He wants to be seen. Huh? Right? I love it. Okay, so when we say we meet someone, let's just say I met a Leo. And this Leo is charismatic. He's sexy, and he uses his wand. And, of course, I fall to prey because I'm, let's say, the Gemini that I am with Libra moon, ends up falling for this charismatic king because that's what he is. How he promotes himself, how he markets himself, his creativity, his passion, his drive is all sexy. So I get really motivated to and love his charisma and drive. But what happens with this Leo that I'm with, and now 10 years into it, we're like, holy crap, that is so annoying. Why he always has to be center stage? Why does he always have to take the stage? Why does he always have to be, in the limelight? Not just like you become your element is what I'm trying to say here. I hope I'm saying it in a way that you're understanding it. So my ego clashes with his ego. Let's just say we're only talking two elements here. We're talking the air element with the fire. So even though the air expands the fire, right? The wind makes the fire like crazy. It enhances the fire. Hence, the relationship in the beginning was off the chain. But in the end, that fire must burn out. And that's where, when the fire burns out and the ego has dropped and contained itself into becoming the whole, then the other elements grab onto that, right? We are all worthy of every element, but the one that we have been chosen in this lifetime to conquer is what our sun sign is, because that's the ego. So I used Leo as the ego because that is the sun sign of the ego. I hope you're following me. You may have to listen to that a couple times. So what ultimately has happened is that fire burned out after however, let's just say 10 years of being with someone. That charisma, that fire, that passion burned out. So that's where the other elements come in to balance out. The water comes in, the earth comes in and tries to balance that out. But to attain your own sign, what you chose to be as your sun sign is your ego, and one that must be achieved. Now, this king decided to show up because he said, well, you're not talking about me, so what happened? So that seems to me like a king of earth, right? who got his wings because he values himself. This king, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, is all about what? It's about expansion. It's about money. It's about fertility. How do I make my money? How do I get money? How do I make it? How do I earn it? How do I give it? Do I give and receive on a notable, in a notable manner? Or does his ego gets completely demolished if he doesn't have a good bank account? Got it? So that's what I'm trying to say. That's our ego. The sun sign is the ego. Therefore, what the sun sign depicts as your ego is one that you must conquer. He came in as an example to show us, because I went, and the water sign is deep in the midst of his he's delving deep right now and doesn't want to come out. Seriously. That's how it's going down. All right. That's a great message today for everyone to understand that with your sun sign, that is how we attain our wings. That's how we are given our wings to fly, is when you can conquer your sun sign. And that's not easy. It's really not easy, especially for the King of Swords. I'm not going to say especially for, because the King of Pentacles, I'm telling you, he can be so unkind if he's not making the money that he should feel like he is worthy of, right? Because he works hard. He works really hard for his money. But when it's upside down, it can be terrifying. It's terrifying to a King of Pentacles not to have his bank accounts in order, his portfolio, right? And when the King of Swords is out of sorts, he's all in his element of, he's giving up the fight of always needing to, he gives up the fight for always needing to be right, knowing it all. Like he is the know-it-all when he's really up in his ego, right? He always wants to be right. He talks himself in and out of situations like no one's business. It's a beautiful thing to see the element of air literally, verbally, right? Just as I have in this reading. It's a piece of music. It's a music. It is this. It's the music of one's way of communicating is like a beautiful masterpiece. Gemini, Libra, Aquarians have that. So look deep into your own self, I guess is the message today, in order to release your ego, right? Because that's the ultimate surrender. Okay, let me use the Faded Oracle here. Faded Oracle deck for this reading. For this reading today. Dare to dream. So dare to dream that once you surrender to Spirit, that you become your true, authentic self. Dare to dream that a life for the King of Swords, who came out. A life of truth is to give up the fight and the need to be right, the need to know, and just allow. Okay, have a great day.